Welcome to Stayf Doodles. I'm Stayf, a Dutch artist, and this is the inking of the story Quap and the Frigidaire. I originally drew it in 1994, and this is the original page or tier, and I'm just going to redraw it. I'm drawing everything in Procreate with the Apple Pencil, and I'm now using the perspective grid. The original illustration of the library was based on a library from Tyler's Museum in Haarlem, which is the oldest museum in Europe. And I'm just using it as a reference because the perspective was from above, so I needed to find another vanishing point. And this is a one-point perspective. So I'm now just building up entire drawing by just drawing straight lines, and later I can go over it with ink and make it a little bit more loose. So I'm using old illustrations and redrawing the character Quap Hippo and just find some better compositions for the story I'm going to republish. When doing the inks, I'm also using the perspective guide to do the straight lines, and sometimes I just ink freehand, and it's this combination of inking freehand and with the perspective guide to make it more organic. And I'm using some other brushes from the Engrave brush set. And these are more structured brushes, but very ink-like, and it's nice, to create some structures in your inks. I'm also using halftones, and I've made a video about halftones. I'll leave a link below this video. And with the library you have a lot of books. So first I started inking them on the right in a more negative space. But then I decided to ink all of the shelves with pure black, and then erasing the blacks and carving out the books. I also found some reference of a skull of a saber-toothed tiger, and I used that on the left. In the story, this is a magic moment that Quap Hippo just enters this big library for the first time, so he's really astonished. And it needed to be a big library. I used another panel which I drew in 1994 and drew on top of it. So the sketches I'm doing on a separate layer, the inks are on another layer as well. I'm inking everything with a sable brush, and that's available in the Stayf Comic Inks brush set for Procreate. And it's a bit similar to working with a Winsor & Newton Series 7 number 2. That's what the digital brush is based on. Because a lot of artists who ink with a brush use that brush. In the story, Qua Hippo also gets a cognac, and I just found an old, I think it's a Victorian globe where the hard liquor is hidden in. And I use that, because the whole atmosphere of the library is very old. So I'm drawing over an old illustration or the old comic I did in 1994, and I just want to enhance it. When I wanted to republish this book, I just wanted to make some corrections to the old illustrations, but some corrections became entire new drawings. The book will be available as an ebook. I'm still finding out if I can publish it as a book as well. There are no balloons in this comic because it's a European comic, and then the text is underneath the comic strip. This is of course a time lapse. It takes me a lot longer to draw and ink a comic like this. The halftones I also did in Procreate, and I wasn't satisfied with this point. It was a little bit too thick, so I changed it later. Hope you enjoyed this video, and the brushes are available for a 20% discount during October 2022. So if you want to ink comics in Procreate, you can buy these brushes. Drawing is fun and practice makes perfect. See you next time. Doodles!